'82, I was 17, my old man was 55. If you do the math between the two of us, that's 72 years alive. An eternity, so it seemed to me. How could anything live that long? Now I say my folks were only 84 the year that they passed on. For a little while it seems you got time to choose your dreams. Pretty soon you look around and you see 100 years ain't what it used to be. And my grandpa Roy, when he was a boy in 1904, he was taught by men who fought in the actual Civil War. And only 8 decades passed and my high school class put the tassels on the other side. Started on our way full of naivete on the great American ride. The months and years slide past, each more quickly than the last. Pretty soon you look around and you'll see 100 years ain't what it used to be. Oh, Johnny!
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, Johnny, hey! Oh, yeah!
He did the guitar face.
Ibuprofen's under buy again in my online shopping cart. Every week I learn of something else I should be doing for my heart. If I use the wrong pillow, I might have trouble getting out of bed. My hair grows in my ears and nose now more than on my head. As a kid, to me, ancient history was something like World War I. But I arrived close to that time than this year as I sing this song. And I'm starting to find I can wrap my mind around life is brief and dear. I can hardly believe my baby girl's turned 26 this year. For a little while it seems you got time to choose your dreams. Pretty soon you look around and you'll see everybody 100 years ain't what it used to be. Before you know it, you're 63, making plans for Medicare A and B. You look around yourself and you see 100 years ain't what it used to be.
Joe?
Yeah,
I
you're
am
right.
rolling.
Josh Arnold Investment Consultant brings you Garage Logic Podcast number 1587. July 29th, 2025. It was 98 degrees on this day on 3 occasions, 1933, 1975, and 1999, and as chilly as 47 degrees on the morning of this day in 1971. Call Josh Arnold at 952-925-5608 for a free 48-minute consultation.
Hail the flashlight king.
And now, from the mayor's office above the boathouse on the east shore of Spoon Lake, it's Garage Logic with Chris Reavers manning Technology Corner, Kenny Olson from the Krabby Coffee Shop, John Height in the newsroom, and of course, the Rookie. Here is your flashlight king, fireworks commissioner, and the keeper of common sense, your mayor, Joe Soucheray.
Didn't have tornadoes here until we started putting into traffic circles. Because on the counter, you want to know why? When people go round and round in circles, it causes disturbance in the atmosphere and causes tornadoes.
Well, we didn't have a tornado last night.
Dust.
I'm unaware. We had a summer thunderstorm.
Okay.
Say,
You're going to die on that hill, aren't you?
Yeah. Well, prove me wrong. I mean, thunderstorms can have bursts of wind.
How about the 110,000 without power this morning? Does that help any?
All throughout history, people have lost power during thunderstorms.
We need
power all the time.
We should reestablish ties with Dave because the show needs a true meteorologist that we can call on anytime to debunk the nonsense that Joe is spewing every day about summer thunderstorms.
Do you remember when we had every meteorologist that used to listen to this show?
No.
Yeah.
Say, I got a
across the
note
board.
from a loyal listener, Tom Bonnet, who writes, I think I'll just lie in my answer. I'll just lie to him.
Okay.
Joe, do you have any details about your state fair appearances? You announced the dates, but I haven't heard specific info about guests. My wife and I plan to take at least one Friday off to join you at the fair. By the way, while searching the GL website for 2025 details about the fair, I suppose there aren't any details on there. I found the snippet below on your 2024 page. Your crack staff posted that you appeared at the fair on Thursday, August 20th, TH. Please let us know who your guests will be on Friday, August 22nd, or Friday,
August 29th.
29th. See, he's making
22th.
Oh, I got
22
you. I
and
got you.
29.
Yeah,
Thanks.
I get it.
Tom, our staff is putting together a wonderful, wonderful first hour, the first Friday of the fair, and a fantastic surprise second hour, second show for the second appearance at the fair. They work mightily on this. They're always engaged. They think about the show even when they're not here, and they try to be really active in creating new, exciting material for the show.
So
and they're
true.
very dedicated. It's not as though they just come in here and turn on the mic. They're
Correct.
thinking all the time.
And Tom, I would like to add to that. After all of the hard work has been completed,
You're my first example.
yes, I appreciate that. The guest list has been embargoed. You know, usually the state fair wants to release all information all the time right away, but the guest list has been embargoed, and that's due to the fact that we need to make sure that these people are going to show up.
Tom, I can tell you for a fact
yes,
that
Tom.
I can tell you for a fact that I know our man Steve Anderson, the piano man, with Pat Donahue will appear with us.
Really? Well, good. You
Presumably-
should tell the staff that, too. So
Well, I just learned that, John.
Oh, okay.
Presumably on both Fridays.
good.
And so that's always wonderful to have those guys with us. Beyond that, we'll have the guests that I managed to find.
Monty,
No,
Monty's
we're not
gonna be
having.
there?
No, we're not having Monty.
because he's dead?
Yeah,
Lake Detective.
No, he's dead.
Lake Detective is always welcome.
Oh, wait.
Marjorie, I think, is.
We're going to see a cow or two.
You know, I really don't know, Kenny. I haven't put it together yet. And as I say, the staff's going to surprise me. They're going to say, look who I've lined up, and they'll be in here. And
Matthew, I was a bit shocked to hear that there's an information embargo. Is there also a guest tariff that we need to contend with?
There is. That is implemented the first week of the state fair. I'm not sure about the last tail end, but for the first week, for that Thursday, Friday, there are guest tariffs.
The thing we should also point out about the 2 state fair shows, the 2 Fridays
That's a lot.
of the state fair, is the window is much smaller for which we can operate the show, because we are doing it from the KSTP building this year, not the normal, the old booth.
Are we being silenced?
What does that mean? Instead of an hour and a half, it's an hour.
Yeah, we're on for an hour, but it's
We already advertised that.
well. It's apparently not enough people are getting that message. Is
No,
that to
what
make
they're
room for
what
the
they're
TV
not
people?
getting is what we have planned.
Is that to make room for the TV people when we're done?
Yes.
Well, it is their stage.
No, I'm not ripping. You know me, I don't rip the fair.
Yesterday, I mentioned that I had never been to Houston in all my travels.
You said that? I don't
Fun
remember
fact.
you saying
Yeah.
that.
He
He's
said
letting
that.
you in, folks.
I've been to Houston.
Hail the Flashlight King.
Hail you.
I listened today, and to say it might be the most difficult GL show I've ever listened to is not a stretch. It wasn't as bad as the time you said Garage Logic people and offended my cats, who are amazing garage logicians who all have a crush on Kenny. But it was hard. Hearing that you have never been to the most amazing city in the world broke my heart. Houston is my hometown, and I am so devastated that you've never experienced it. It is the best city I've ever been to, and I've been to more cities than most people dream of. It's time, Mayor. You've been everywhere, but somehow you've never made it to Houston, and this is simply a glaring omission for a sports writer of your pedigree. Do you like baseball? Don't you? If you really like baseball, you need to start with the crown jewel, Dakin Park, home of the Astros. It's where modern baseball meets Texas swagger, and there's no better place to witness a fan base that lives and breathes the game 365 days a year. You've chronicled legends, you've been to terrible ballparks, so now you must go watch one more inning behind home plate at the ballpark where magic happens. While you're there, dance with Orbit, the best mascot in professional sports. And you can probably talk to the most adorable baseball player ever, Jose Altuve. He's so cute, you just want to put him in your pocket. But don't stop there. Take a stroll through the Space Center. Walk the same corridors where we dared to go to the moon. Yeah, you mean on that Hollywood soundstage? Grab a cigar and a cold one in the Heights. Sit with the butterflies at the Museum of Natural History. Eat barbecue that requires no sauce and Mexican food that should come with a warning label at the original Mama Ninfa's, where fajitas were invented in the 1970s. And if you're up for more fun, go find the Beer Can House in Rice Military and enjoy more of Houston's quirkiness. Houston is the city version of Garage Logic. A practical, sprawling, quirky, and filled with stories that write themselves. It's overdue, Joe. Time to punch your ticket to H-Town, GL style. And if you tell me where you're going or when you're going, I'll meet you there and show you the greatest city on the planet. Kate Tierney, East Union, Minnesota, originally from Houston, Texas.
Nice.
Kate, I think I should take Kate up on that.
I have been to Houston.
You were there for a Super Bowl?
Left at halftime and missed the greatest comeback in the history of the sport.
Yep.
Way to go.
When I was there, I noticed a lot of homeless people.
Well, aren't you going to notice that in every major city in America?
One of my most favorite songs is Never Been to Houston by Glenn Campbell.
He also sang Galveston.
Well, I never been to Houston,
I'm unaware of
but
that
I
song.
really love the Astros.
I
We
think
have
he's
several
thinking of
problems
Three Dog
there.
Night, isn't he?
Yeah, it's a Hoyt Axton song originally, actually, and never been to Spain.
John, you just gave me everything I was
I
wanting.
know. I
Just-
saw your
just-
face. You
Was
were
I
just
wrong?
waiting.
Was
You
I
know
wrong
what?
about Galveston?
Houston
Galveston
also
is
has
correct.
Houston also has a very notable antique combined with antique boat and car show called Wheels and Keels, and it's been a tempting visit for me. It looks like a pretty good show. They got water there apparently, and
They're not far from the drink.
Have you been to Houston, Minnesota?
I think I have.
Yeah, that'd be a good place.
Southeast Minnesota,
Yeah, Bluff Country.
Bluff Country.
Yep.
Maybe start there and then work your way up.
Dina Winter of the Star Tribune has done a piece on Joe Thompson. He's the federal prosecutor now in Minnesota. I did not know he was an Osseo, Minnesota native.
Okay.
And he has said something I would like to, I hope you would agree, that we've been saying for a long time. Let me find the actual quote in the story. Well, I think I have it. Here it is. As a prosecutor, I'm expected to say the defendants, he's talking about fraud in Minnesota. As a prosecutor, I'm expected to say the defendants are responsible for their crimes, and they are. But if we pretend that's the whole story, we're lying to ourselves. This fraud crisis did not come out of nowhere. It's the result of widespread failure across nearly every level of leadership in Minnesota. Politicians who turned a blind eye, agencies that failed to act, prosecutors and law enforcement who did not push hard enough, reporters who ignored the story, community leaders who stayed silent, and a public that wanted to believe it could not happen here. This isn't just a few criminals exploiting the system. This is a system that's been begging to be exploited. We left the door wide open, and now our state has been ransacked. If we keep ignoring the truth, we're going to lose something far more important than money. We're going to lose the Minnesota we know and love. Amen, brother. But here's the important part. I'm afraid we are going to continue to ignore the truth. If that sounds like my disappointment in the Minnesota electorate, that's what it is. I sense no urgent frustration with the behavior of our state government from the governor on down. It's been horrific, and I just sense no one really cares. I don't know what happened. I don't know what drives this apathy, but it's really unfortunate because we are really poorly run, and these are the people Walz hired. These are his agencies. The incompetence has been beyond belief. And I'm glad that we have a federal prosecutor in town who is calling it like it is. I'd love to have him on the air. Chris is in charge of that.
So it'll never happen.
He's from Minnesota, born and raised here, went to Osseo High School, then Gustavus Adolphus College. After college, he moved to California, went to law school at Stanford. He lived away for a long time. He moved to Chicago and clerked for a federal judge in Chicago, the U.S. District Court, Northern District of Illinois, and then he spent a year in Barack Obama. When Barack Obama was inaugurated as president. A memorable day in Chicago and in my life. I did a lot of gang prosecutions, a lot of gang drug cases and drug cartels, and I did a lot of fraud cases when I was in Chicago. And then I moved home in 2014 to join the office here. It was in the summer of 2021, and a forensic accountant at the FBI, Pauline Rose, came to me about this new case, and she said, Joe, you got to look at this. The amount of money flowing through this company, feeding our future, is just enormous. And so then we got to work. It's fair to say a lot of our state programs, while perhaps well-intentioned, are not implemented in a way with enough focus on integrity and to catch fraud. The most egregious of all is the Housing Stabilization Program. It's not the biggest dollar amount yet. It's just written to be defrauded. Let me stop. It almost seems as though the entire program, the Housing Stabilization Program, we've been through it before on the show, was nothing but fraud. In other words, I don't think anyone's received any housing stabilization. It's all fraud.
Right.
And he's noting this. I'll say this, it's clear our state needs to take fraud more seriously, and we can't just assume that people who participate in these programs, even if they are ostensibly a nonprofit, are doing so honestly. And that's especially true when people are getting millions or even tens of millions of dollars a year, and when newly created companies are doing so, it's obvious. He loves his job. He said investigation is fun. He has a team of brilliant people working hard, working on interesting stuff that's important. Godspeed to this guy. And then he concludes, he says, I grew up in Minnesota, and it's known for good parks, good schools. Well, they're not that good, Joe.
It was.
Traditionally believed to have relatively clean government. It does not. And generous social services, well, they've backfired. And when you have massive levels of fraud, waste, and abuse, that jeopardizes all the things that create cynicism in government. Then we get to that quote where Dino Winter said to him, who is responsible for this? And that was his quote. As a prosecutor, I'm expected to say the defendants are responsible, and they are. But that's not the whole story, and I already read you that quote.
You just said something, and my brain exploded. Say it again if you remember. Something about it almost seems like the department was created to conduct fraud. What did you say? What was your
It seems to me the housing stabilization program was nothing but fraud. No one that I'm aware of or read about has ever received any housing stabilization, but dozens and dozens and dozens of outfits sprang up to claim they were providing that service, and all they did was cash the checks for themselves.
What if you're...
I'm sorry, Kenny, go ahead.
No, I think your question is more important than where I'm going. Go ahead.
Well, mine's not a question, it's just a statement. I have a family member who works in a business that uses this. And they've placed plenty of people in housing situations they needed to be in, people who were suffering from substance abuse issues, that kind of thing. I know the truth hurts, yeah.
Okay, well
But you're talking about legitimate ones.
Well, yeah.
The ones that are fraudulent
Yes.
are these new ones that
Of
have
course.
just popped up overnight.
I guess my statement did not leave any room for the possibility that there are some legitimate ones.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's the way I took it.
All right.
Here's where I was going. All the government's alphabet.
This is a show that fights with itself in process.
That's why I love it. That's why people love it.
Especially
So I
those
love to
watching on
hate the... Go ahead.
I'm
Especially
not
those
ready for
watching
that
on
yet.
YouTube.
I'm not ready for that
I
yet.
love to hate this show.
Yeah. Yes, Kenny?
I was going somewhere along the lines of maybe this department was created to hand out money. So then the question is, who created the department? Where's the money actually going?
Well, the legislature would.
Did we scratch the surface of something much, much bigger? Because we all know that these alphabet soup agencies within the government, there's no accounting for where they get their money and where the money goes. You know, they're just robbing the people blindly at every turn. Maybe there's something far more nefarious than just some Somalis getting millions of dollars. You see where I'm going with this?
Yeah, I would think the legislature created the program, and then the apt agency to run it would be Department of Human Services, and then they failed miserably at running it completely legit.
But John, for your comment, aren't there localities or government agencies that are checking on those people that have been housed and stuff like that?
Yes, and the family member who works at that place, they also check and report back. So there's two different checks to make sure everything is kosher.
Well, then I wonder why they dropped the ball on the new ones.
Right now, the state is... Okay, I'll tell you about housing stabilization, but first I better tell you about some things we have to keep mentioning, and that is summer's a great time to get your garage door replaced. Try Precision Door MN. They serve western Wisconsin and the entire metro. I wouldn't wait till winter. Do it while the weather's still nice. It'd be a lot more comfortable for everybody involved, and then you're set for the cold winds blowing and the snowstorms. And right now, Precision Door has a deal for GLers, $100 off a single door and $200 off a double door. And they have models of doors for every budget. They send out a designer. That's all free of charge. You pick the right door, bing, bang, boom, save a few bucks from Precision Door. You can do it online at precisiondoormn.com or call Precision Door at 612-263-6985.
help you with the ads today either, Kenny.
And now, a man who has never had a relationship with a tree, Joe Souchere.
Remember this website, customroasting.net. It's .net, the long history that Stephen at Custom Roasting has with coffee. It actually goes back 35 years, starting with roasting classes, and then opening a coffee shop in lovely Canby, Minnesota. They just had a county fair in Canby last weekend. Here it is, 2025, and CustomRoasting.net, and the employees have been a vital part of Buffalo, Minnesota now for many, many years. They've been roasting a wide variety of blends and flavors of coffee beans. When you go to the website at CustomRoasting.net, you're going to see the Garage Logic tab right away, the top of the homepage there. Click on that, and it brings up the GL Starter, kind of a variety pack that gives you from the darkest to the lightest roast. And it starts with the French roast, then the Boundary Waters blend, the Morning blend, and the Columbia Excelso. I've had all three. Actually, I had all three last weekend, and then I have the French roast every day during the week. And it was really wonderful. It was great. Be sure to bop around on that website and learn as much as you can about the operation. It's very impressive. A lot's happened in coffee in the world since 35 years ago. But through it all, Stephen has been roasting coffee the whole time and giving us the most wonderful coffee at a very reasonable price. And that's ground or whole bean, and it's delivered right to your door. It's the official supplier for Garage Logic and the Krabby Coffee Shop. It's CustomRoasting.net.
I believe it was Joe Thompson who mentioned the housing stabilization fraud. There's a piece about that in today's Star Tribune, that Minnesota has stopped paying 50 housing stabilization service providers because of an investigation into fraud. Governor Walz said the state has halted payments to most of the people involved in the program, which is why I guess I was leaning to the idea that it almost seemed created to enable fraud. Most of the people involved in this program are being investigated. The Minnesota Department of Human Services said that 43 of those payment stoppages came yesterday. Payments to 7 providers had already been stopped before yesterday. So there's 50 of these so-called providers who weren't providing. The announcement comes a couple of weeks after federal investigators raided 5 providers as they investigate what they've called a massive scheme to defraud the program. The state had halted payments to those 5 providers before the raids. The Housing Stabilization Services Program uses Medicaid money to help find and maintain housing for older adults and people with disabilities. It's seen as a good idea, now badly designed. That seems fair. Badly designed. I got to turn to page 7. It's a rare day these days when we have a paper that
goes
even
all the
has
way
a
to 7?
Page 7. The payments that were scheduled to go out today are not going, Walz said. Walz, by the way, in the last few days has expressed concern about this fraud. He's very late to do so. The payments that were scheduled to go today are not going out, Walz said. I fully expect some of those folks, God, I hate people who use that word. No, I hate the use of that word. Some of those people will sue the state of Minnesota because they aren't getting their money. Mm-hmm. But I think we're in a position now to trust but verify. Shireen Gandhi is the temporary DHS commissioner because the other one conveniently split. Mm-hmm. What was her name?
Heather Mueller.
Heather Mueller was education.
Jody
Herzentraut.
Harpstead.
She just, must have gone to the cabin or something. Gandhi said that the agency initiated a comprehensive data analytics project in March, reviewing records in new ways. They got new ways to review the records. As a result, the agency stopped payments and sent information on suspected fraud to law enforcement. Why don't they do that before they give away money? Why isn't there a more thorough vetting
That would be so
process?
practical, right?
Why isn't there a more thorough vetting process? You show up and you say, look, I'd like to start one of these housing stabilization services. I think I can be helpful. And then you have to pass an extraordinary test.
They're going to vet me
to get
out.
the money.
Yes.
We don't do that. This state has been just giving out the money as fast as it can. Walls even alluded to that. He said, we give everything out too quickly.
I'm telling you, there's something more nefarious in all of this.
Any HSS providers scheming to steal from our programs are being stopped from receiving further payment, Gandhi said. But Shirley, or what's your name? Shireen, you're too late, too. None of your words are ringing with confidence. None of your words inspire confidence. Minnesota initially estimated the housing stabilization program would cost about $2.6 million a year. Okay, if that's what you estimated, you should have stuck to that. But providers received $3.3 million in 2020. But by 2024, are you ready? This is not why Gandhi's believable. This is why the governor's not believable. This is why the political class in Minnesota is not believable. Okay. The payments went from $3.3 million in 2024 to $107 million last year. Last year.
Wow.
And you people weren't the ones raising red flags. It took a new prosecuting attorney for the state to raise the flags. It took other people to raise the flags. You were just sailing merrily along, writing these checks, same way you did with food.
So does that then lead you to believe?
I'm going to go back to the statement John contests. I think the thing was created to supply fraudsters. And, once in a while, maybe the state got lucky and somebody actually was honest. Listen, this doesn't make sense either. How many of these housing stabilization providers do you think there are?
Well, probably hundreds, right? Wouldn't there be?
1,700. 1,700 housing stabilization providers are listed in the state's provider directory. You mean to tell me that you literally must have been able to walk in there, claim you're a housing stabilization provider, and walk away with money?
Well, it says right there, if you'd keep reading.
I am going to keep reading.
Okay, with relatively few eligibility requirements. It was designed this way on purpose, so they could do just what you said. Waltz in there and waltz back out.
Thompson, the attorney, said it was designed to be an easy-to-obtain benefit with relatively few eligibility requirements. This has left the program vulnerable to bad actors and to fraud, and people billing for services that weren't needed and were never provided. There is a group of people in Minnesota who are so keen and eager and ready to pounce on the fraud money that all they needed was just the window cracked just a bit. They get wind of a housing stabilization program. 1,700 outfits claim to be providing that. $117 million.
And
no, $107 million
and it was
last year.
1,700 programs currently, or in the recent past. How many of those existed 5 years ago?
None. The program didn't exist.
Do you really believe it's that simple?
Yes.
And it's just a bunch of random...
Under the incompetence of the worst governor in the nation, this has been possible.
and just a bunch of random Somalis can jump on this and get it. You don't think that money is being fed going somewhere else and they're just taking a cut off it? You said it before the break. The program was designed to give out money, to siphon money. We weren't supposed to discover any of this. I don't believe that a bunch of randos are the ones benefiting here. I think they're taking a cut and the money's going elsewhere.
Well, now you're going deeper than we need to.
No, I think we do need to ask that question.
Well, you're suggesting they're funding terrorism then.
Bingo.
Okay.
Sorry to sound like Chris Reavers, but everything that we've learned about this country in the last 5 years, 10 years, leads me to that assumption.
And how did all of these programs and how did all of these people know what to do and how to do it so quickly without having possible inside information?
Yeah.
I don't believe that they didn't have inside information. That I refuse to believe.
I think we're scratching the surface here, Joe. And I think we're being fed a load of BS that this was the final destination for this money.
Do you guys recall way back when, 2020, when the food fraud first originated? And remember Walls standing at the podium just saying, "Oh, I was shocked." Well, he was acting. It was all a scam.
Just to defend my earlier statement, which did not leave much room to acknowledge legitimate housing stabilization providers, Thompson told, I believe it was Jay Coles, he told KSTP, the vast majority of providers of housing stabilization services are fraudulent.
Wow. That's a hell of a statement. Jeez.
Wow. We have seen... Well, let's go back to what Thompson said. It's very important. The crisis has not come out of nowhere. It's the result of widespread failure across nearly every level of leadership in Minnesota. Politicians who turned a blind eye, agencies who failed to act, prosecutors and law enforcement who didn't push hard enough, reporters who ignored the story, community leaders who stayed silent. Well, let's stop with that one. Community leaders is a euphemism for people who might have been benefiting from the fraud, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Community leaders who stayed silent, and a public, this is the most important one, and a public that wanted to believe it couldn't happen here. This is not just criminals exploiting the system. This is a system that's been begging to be exploited.
Or created to be exploited, depending on how cynical you are.
Unbelievable. We've been harping on it. My God in heaven, it's just this state is a complete financial mess. Maybe it was, Walls enjoying the kingship of his trifecta. Maybe he just said, get this money to everybody you can. The hell with the people who are providing it. Get this money to everybody you can. Because we love the smell of burning tires. This is amazing. And I'm so glad Thompson's saying it. Somebody might listen to Thompson. And Walls, you are disingenuous to a fault, and you're really, really late to the show.
If I was him, I'd be running for my life.
If I were you, Walls, I'd resign.
I'd be disappeared by now. I'd be long gone. Do you think he's really that clueless, Joe? Does he think he's infallible?
If he's not that clueless, he's deeply, deeply involved in it.
Oh, yeah.
I'm so glad you guys are on the team.
That's a hell of a statement.
How else? What
There's
else?
No other explanation.
What? This is. Repeat. Walls was governor in the year 2020. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
The program costs $2.6 million a year. By last year, the total escalated to more than $107 million, and more than 1,700 housing stabilization providers are listed in the state's provider directory.
You know what this is akin to, Joe?
Not all of those 1,700 housing stabilization providers got money, but 700 did.
This is much like when someone steals your card information. They don't ring up a $500 transaction right away. They start with $2.
Yeah, they'd give it a test
$3.50.
run.
Let's see if I can get away with this, and then let's just keep ramping it up. That's exactly what happened with this program.
That's
And
how
I'll
you do
remind you, Joe, both the House and the Senate belong to the Democrats.
I
at the
just
time.
said that.
Yeah.
Possibly enjoying the trifecta,
Yeah.
Walz either remained incredibly clueless or was deeply, deeply involved.
It's really difficult not to take it into the conspiracy zone. I mean, everything's right there.
Well, plus everything today is a conspiracy.
Meanwhile, John, are you saying that the organizations that really, really needed it were not getting it? Is that what I'm taking away?
The funding is being cut, obviously, in other ways.
Now, it
But
is
John,
now.
John,
Now, yes, now.
John, you have a family member who, does he work for a specific housing stabilization provider?
No.
Okay.
no,
Does
works-
he work for an organization that somehow that's what they tap to get money?
No.
Then what?
He works for a company that deals with people with addictions. And once they complete the program of their addiction, this company that he works for finds them temporary housing.
Well, that doesn't sound like it's a housing stabilization provider.
That's who the housing stabilization program is, how they supply, because the sober houses are listed under that. Temporary living quarters are listed under that. Several others are also.
Well, if money was cut off to him, no, see that
Not that money wasn't cut off in this latest batch that we're hearing about. Money was cut off earlier because funding was cut during the legislative session.
But somebody from the fraudulent people saw a loophole and just started to run with it under the disguise of helping
Plus,
people.
it's my knowledge of sober houses that they aren't necessarily funded by housing stabilization process. I'm familiar with many sober houses.
Some definitely are.
Yeah.
Although in the last month or so, about 4 have lost their funding that this company deals with.
Well, then
Dylan's
that company's being examined for fraud.
Or they're just a victim of it. You know, look at what the mafia does when they get their fingers into a business. They squeeze it and drain it dry and then leave the ashes and walk away.
As I understand it from conversations, it has nothing to do with the fraud. It has to do with cuts, budget cutting that came through in the Minnesota legislature.
Well, here's a sad note.
That makes more sense, John. Yeah.
I think Minnesota, and I think Thompson has intimated this. I think you could look at every single program in Minnesota and find fraudulent behavior.
Sure. An element
Every
of it.
single program. Now, maybe you could 50 years ago, too, but I doubt it.
Are you saying at the state level and the federal level?
At the state level, I'm talking fraudulent behavior.
Okay.
For example, there has been many questions about the people who run sober houses and whether they've been on the up and up. Many questions. But I think all that Minnesotans need is to realize that 4 years ago, housing stabilization programs that were supposed to get by on $2.6 million a year got $3.3 million, and today they're getting $107 million. That's all you.
That's very telling.
That doesn't make sense.
Do you think part of this is that, and we've talked about this a lot, government has become so unwieldy that it's impossible to do stuff without throwing the baby out with the bathwater? You know
No,
what I mean?
because I think some states work. I don't disagree. It's unwieldy. It's too large. It's too multi-layered. There's too much bureaucracy. But there are states that work, and there are governors who have a handle on things, and they hire people to get it straight. This state has not. This state is in a terrible, terrible mess. And I blame Walz. These are his people. This is all happening under his watch. He's either the dumbest human being who ever lived, or he's as crooked as hell.
Playing a dumb guy.
Yeah.
Knucklehead.
I was just going to say, just a knucklehead.
I'm just, babe, well, boy. You could go down a hole with this thing so long. What's your act going to be, Tim? I'll pretend I'm a knucklehead. Yeah. I'll even say that.
Watch
I'll
me
even
fix
say
this
that.
air filter.
I'm a dum-dum.
I'm just a knucklehead. Or maybe you're not a knucklehead, Tim.
Didn't he also say he was something about a kryptonite to Minnesota men or something along that line?
Well, he supposedly
that
thinks he's
line?
an alpha male, which is...
Good one, Gov.
He's what the Democrats needed on the national ticket because he can get in. He's in good with the toxic males of
Well,
the
he's
world.
in good with the fools who drink beer and watch football, is what he said.
Harris was more
He
masculine
didn't
than he
say
was.
he didn't say fools.
Yeah, Matt's right. You're right, Matthew.
Well, you know what? It sounds to me like Thompson is dedicated to revealing all this and to getting to the bottom of it.
Let's hope.
And that's the state's only hope, because I don't count on voters in this state anymore. And there are enough in the metro area who enjoy this. They think that to them this is part of the mystery. This is the taking down of convention. It's the taking down of tradition, but which is all flawed anyway because it was unfair from the hotel room in Philadelphia in 1775. So I don't count on any of the voters to put this straight. Thompson's going to have to put this straight.
Got to get rid of capitalism, Such. Capitalism needs to go.
That's what's being enjoyed by the people in the metro who vote for this knucklehead. You want to take Johnny Height? Or do you want me to tell you about EcoFund?
I'd love to hear about EcoFund.
Well, I got some good news
I really don't
about
want to take Johnny
EcoFund.
Height, though.
It's having
Thank you.
It's the biggest sale of the year on personal watercraft. Come on, you got a lot of summer left. So if you've been waiting for the right moment to hit the water, let's go here. This is the biggest personal watercraft sale of the year. And right now, if you get a 2025 jet ski or Wave Runner, and they're Yamaha, they're bulletproof, they're wonderful. You're getting the Triton aluminum trailer free. They're throwing in the trailer. So when you get there and you pick up the Wave Runner, it's on the trailer. You don't have to buy that extra. They're really top tier trailers. If I'm not mistaken, I can look it up. I don't have time at the moment. I believe they're made right here in Minnesota. A selection is strong for now. I'm talking about EcoFund Motorsports in Forest Lake / Columbus, right on Highway 97 west of 35, immediately west of 35. Just one of those tornado-causing roundabouts, and you're right there. And not only the water equipment, but scooters, excellent motorcycles, the electric bike capital of the world, youth recreational equipment, side-by-sides, 4x4s, helmets, apparel, great service. EcoFund Motorsports is also in Burnsville on the Service Road of Life near County Road 42. And the website should alert you to how fun these stores are. EcoFundMotorsports.com.
the end of the world as we know it. It's the end of the world as we know it. It's the end of the world as we know it. And he feels fine. Joe Soucheray.
Oh, sorry, Guy. The algorithms on my Facebook have been all about Sturgis 2025.
Is that underway right now?
I believe day one is this Friday.
Oh, that's August. Yeah, I'm sorry.
For some reason, all the videos I keep seeing are of people that have broke down either with the two-wheeler or the motorhome or the Dodge Ram. And I don't care if you're on 2 wheels or 12, 24. The 3 items, if you're a GLer, you should have these on the way to South Dakota or for that matter, anywhere else. Going to work today. The big 3. A spray bottle or 2 of Bugs Be Gone. We need that almost every other day here in the summer. Seafoam motor treatment, the engine treatment. Just give the old girl a splash every now and then. You don't have to feed it the whole bottle. Just give it a splash. Make those cylinders happy. And, of course, the amazing Deep Creep penetrating oil. It works so good. Lubricates, oil. It gets rid of moisture better than any other product. Amazing products from our friends at Seafoam. It's the GLer's emergency roadside kit, let's admit it, along with, of course, a roll of duct tape and maybe some jumper cables. You should always have the big 3, the Deep Creep, the Bugs Be Gone, and the engine treatment. Our own local company with a global reach, Seafoam.
Here's John Height.
Thank you, Joe. This news brought to you by North American Banking Company. Tens of thousands of Minnesotans lost power Monday night as thunderstorms and damaging winds moved across the state. According to Xcel Energy's outage map, more than 100,000 customers without power last night as of about 10:30. By this morning, they had that down to about 90,000 customers without power in Minnesota and Wisconsin. That was as of about 6 this morning.
I should have turned on the Twins game to see them win it.
Yeah.
They won in the bottom of the 9th, but they put the tarp on the field at the beginning of the bottom of the 9th. An hour and a half later, they resumed the game, and the Twins won it in the bottom of the 9th.
What time did we wrap her up?
I don't know. I didn't turn
it. I didn't watch it because I went to read when they put the tarp down.
Yeah.
But it was a little after 10 then, and they said an hour and a half later, so they must have started, maybe 11:30, give or take.
Let's hope for a brief game this evening.
Why?
Because I'm going. I'm going to wait till 11 o'clock.
Some breaking news this morning. Local, state, and federal agencies are investigating a cyber attack against the city of St. Paul.
Ooh.
Governor Walz this morning announced he's activated the Minnesota National Guard to help in the response to the attack at the city's request. According to the governor's office, the magnitude and complexity of the cybersecurity incident have exceeded the city's response capacity. At a news conference this morning, St. Paul Mayor Melvin Carter said the city has declared a local state of emergency to address the attack. The city also retained 2 national firms and activated its Emergency Operations Center. Cybersecurity protection systems initially detected suspicious activity on the city's network on Friday, according to the mayor. He said this wasn't a system glitch or a technical error. This was a deliberate, coordinated digital attack carried out by a sophisticated external actor, intentionally and criminally targeting our city's information infrastructure. Jamie Waskulis is the director of the city's Office of Technology and Communication, said, "We are the victims of a serious crime. In response, we have mobilized local, state, and federal partners to support our investigation and response efforts. The incident remains active, and we continue to assess it in real time." Several agencies helping investigate the attack, including the FBI. The city yesterday fully shut down its information systems as a defensive measure to contain the threat. The disruptions are affecting access to online services and internal systems. City added that some of its services may be temporarily delayed or unavailable. Apparently, you can't pay your water bill at this time. Carter added that 911 services are working as normal, though there have been back-end challenges, in his words.
Since we're piling on the governor today, why not here? What's the difference in reaction time of him calling in the National Guard today as it was Memorial Day weekend of 2020?
Well, no difference. I mean, no comparison. But what I'm more interested in, so far, John, the only thing you mentioned that that the average citizen, myself included, could identify with is right now it's affecting paying your water bill.
Yeah, well, there's some city services may be delayed or unavailable. They're not. I don't have a list of them, but that was specifically mentioned in the story that you couldn't pay your bill if you needed to. So. The man charged with killing 2 people, injuring a dozen others after driving drunkenly into the Patio Park Tavern did get sentenced yesterday. Update, 30 years in prison. 57-year-old Stephen Bailey was sentenced to 180 months for each of the 2 murder charges that he pleaded guilty to, a total of 360 months. U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement are seeking to deport the driver charged with vehicular homicide in the deaths of 2 west central Minnesota teens. The U.S. Department of Homeland Security announced Sunday that ICE has lodged an arrest detainer against Nolia Martinez Avila, undocumented immigrant suspected of driving drunk July 20th in Dane County, Wisconsin. 18-year-old Haley Helgeson of Montevideo was part of the head-on collision, was killed in the head-on collision on Interstate 39 near DeForest, Wisconsin. Helgeson was a 2025 graduate of Montevideo High School. 19-year-old Brady Heiling of Clara City was treated for several days at the University of Wisconsin Hospital in Madison. His family announced on Friday in a Carey-Bridge post that he had died of his injuries. Heiling was a 2024 graduate of McRae High School in Clara City. On July 27th, Assistant Department of Homeland Security Secretary Tricia McLaughlin wrote that Helgeson and Heiling had their whole lives ahead of them, and they would still be alive today if it weren't for Nolia Martinez Avila, a criminal illegal alien from Honduras. McLaughlin went on to state that ICE was seeking to remove what she called the public safety threat from the U.S. in a statement called Dane County a sanctuary jurisdiction with a history of not honoring ICE arrest detainers.
Or as the Star Tribune labeled him in their headline, Wisconsin man.
Oh. Wow.
100% true.
We talked about that yesterday. That's one of the big problems here.
Minnesota-based United Health delivering disappointing second quarter earnings and went conservative with its 2025 forecast as soaring medical costs continue to swamp insurers. The healthcare giant said today expenses that have jumped beyond what it expected when it set coverage prices will continue to pressure performance. But CEO Stephen Hemsley told analysts the company expects to return to what he called solid but moderate earnings growth in 2026. United Health now expects adjusted earnings of at least $16 a share in 2025. They will drop some Medicare Advantage health plans covering more than 600,000 people as they try to reverse financial declines. The company's insurance arm, United Healthcare, is the nation's largest provider of Medicare Advantage health plans, which are privatized versions of the original government health insurance program. Minnesota State Fair has named the replacement concert for the Steve Miller Show. It'll be Daryl Hall. Hall will be paired with the previously scheduled openers for Miller's concert, the Rascals, who feature 2 original members right now. Tickets to the show, which falls on the fair's second Thursday night, will be priced at $44 to $75 for reserved seats, and they will go on sale this Friday, 10 in the morning, via etix.com.
I wonder who the 2 original members of the Rascals are.
It's the guitar player, Gene Cornish, and Felix Cavallari.
I'll be damned. Eddie Brigati's, Dino Danelli is the drummer. He's dead.
He's dead, yeah.
Eddie Brigati still alive, I wonder?
Eddie, I think, is still alive, but he and Felix hate each other.
Oh.
So Eddie will not take part.
If you go to that show, are you just looking for good lovin' and that's it? What else do they?
They've had a lot of hits, man.
But I mean, with the 2 original guys.
Not that I'm complaining, but isn't $44 light for a show like that?
I don't know.
Well, 75. 44 is the low one.
But usually those are like $100 at least, aren't they, for the fair?
The Rascals were so dominant for long enough in the 60s that if all 4 were alive and they were still making music, they could have sold out arenas going on an old man tour.
We've had this discussion, I think,
and
on the show.
You deny that, don't you?
I do deny that. Yeah. Now, they did do a brief tour
Yeah.
not too long ago before they hated each other.
Yeah.
And Felix Cavallari blew it up because he said, I want single solo billing. It should be Felix
Well, I said,
Cavallari
my conditions were if they got along and were still making music and, you know.
But they did do a handful of shows, and they were all in, small venues.
All right.
Just
what happens to people? I mean, if the 5 of us were going on tour and I hated the crap out of all 5 of you, but I was getting a paycheck on the other side, I learned to go through the bits with it until
Matthew,
sometimes the money ain't worth it.
welcome to my life.
Okay, I got it. You let me in a little bit there. Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you.
Yikes. Boy, I
Hi,
think
Joe. How
you
are
gotta
you,
Just
buddy?
looking for that paycheck on the other side.
Take
I
a
got you
break
now.
here. By the
Explains
way-
a lot, Kenny. Thank you.
By the way, I did get about a half hour ago a text from somebody in my family, my wife, who said, get me some tickets for that show. So I guess I'm going to see Daryl Hall and the rest.
You know, I wanted to bring that up, John. Are you ever tempted? Do you really need to see them? Because you can just sit like in that smoking area next to the grandstand,
That's
close
true.
to the stage, and just dance and have fun.
Chomp on some Sweet Marthas.
Maybe smoke a little Mary Jane.
Oh, back in the good old days,
Do you
Ken.
need to see the band? Can't you just listen to them?
You're probably right. It would sound the same, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Drink
Oates
Reaper's
fella
beer
gonna
out of
be-
his cooler.
Is that Oates fella going to be with him?
Oh, God, no. They hate each
probably
other,
hate each
too.
other.
Why do they hate each other?
A lot of hate going
What
on.
about Daryl's house? Is that still going?
Yeah,
It
I
is,
don't know.
yeah. Oates wanted to sell the music, and Daryl Hall did not want to, so they went to court over that. That's why they hate each other.
Sure.
So
So they didn't get to sell it?
I believe they did. He was able to sell his portion, if I remember the story. I'd have to look it
Oh,
up. I'm not
Daryl,
sure.
sell it. I mean, what do you got to live for
Well,
now?
that's, you're 75, Daryl. Come on. You can use the
Right.
cash.
Right.
Why don't we take a break?
Adult education.
Yeah. Chris Reavers, I think, has something to tell us. Maybe some adult education himself.
Speaking of the fair, guess who'll be there? Our good friends at Hofferman Water and
Oh.
Connecticut. Much like they're at most of the county fairs, including I saw them personally at the Rice County Fair 2 weeks ago. They were at the Scott County Fair.
You're
this
making the
past
rounds,
weekend.
huh? Doing the circuit?
Well, I was, in the neighborhood. I thought I'd say hi to the fellas. But that's the cool thing. They are here. They are Minnesota-made, Hofferman Water and Connecticut. I got a great note, by the way, from David. How about this story? This is the power of the GLers. I love this. Hey, Reeves, I was laying some laminate flooring in a customer's house here in northeast South Dakota, and a Connecticut Water Systems guy showed up. Told the Connecticut guy, the homeowner doesn't know this, but Reavers and Garage Logic recommended you. Just reminding them that advertising on the best group of podcasts does, in fact, work. That's a great story. Thank you, David, very much. But you got to get on the schedule first and foremost and have Hofferman Water and Connecticut come out and give you that free water analysis. And when you do that, they're going to give you this thing called a water score. And then based upon that water score, they're going to give you recommendations on how they can improve the quality of your water. So book your appointment today, 612-895-2440, or you can also book your appointment online, which is HoffermanWater.com. Either way, you can get on the schedule and have them make an amazing difference in the quality of your water, like they have done for me. 612-895-2440 or HoffermanWater.com. Hofferman Water has been proudly serving the state of Minnesota for over 50 years. Do me a favor, like David did, and mention that you heard about him on the Garage Logic podcast. Here's the guy that lost his liners.
This man lost his liner. You cannot stop him. He'll just make a move. Joe Souchere.
Thank you, Chris Corley. I appreciate you and your wonderful voice. It's the rookie here with his squeaky, overdone voice, giving you a ray of hope. If you're looking for a ray of hope, then look no further than Minnesota's Freemasons. For a couple of years now on Garage Logic, I've been sharing with you all the great things the Minnesota Freemasons are doing. Really big things like donating over $6 million annually to support cancer research, aging studies, and children's communication disorders. There's over 8,000 Freemasons throughout the great state of Minnesota working together to make the world a better place by focusing on what? The kind of stuff we talk about here in Garage Logic. Core values of friendship, personal development, helping those in need. And Minnesota Masons also give away dozens of scholarships each year to tomorrow's leaders. That's an investment, baby. This year, they're going to give out over $900,000 in student scholarships for 2025. To date, Minnesota Masonic Charities has given out over $13 million in total scholarships. Do you get that number? $13 million? This is why we're such a great fan of Minnesota's Freemasons. They're donating their time, talents, and treasure to foster the next generation of business and civic leaders. We're going to reap our benefits somewhere down the road here with some great leaders. If you'd like to learn more about Freemasonry, and I hope you do, they got a great history. Their scholarship programs, upcoming events, whatever the case may be, visit mnfreemasons.org. That's mnfreemasons.org.
Before we return to John, I would like to say that many times we say things that
we don't mean
confuse our listeners. And the make notes that yesterday, Reavers was describing a ferry trip in the state of Washington.
Yes.
And that you were suffering some anxiety about that.
A little bit.
And that you remained in the car.
Yeah.
And the make notes that, well, if you were frightened of sinking or capsizing or whatever, staying in the car probably was the
last resort,
wrong thing to do. So.
Right.
He wanted to go down with the car.
I guess you wanted to go down with the car.
That's right. The captain. Yeah.
I'm going to get out of the car if I'm on a ferry and get near a railing so I can dive in if I have to.
I see.
You can grab a little orange collared life.
No, I'll just dive in.
I will say though, anxiety aside, it was pretty neat doing that. That was fun.
From what you could see sitting in your car in the
windshield
bowels of the
wipers
building,
going.
the boat.
In other news, before we get to the other news, by the way, Hall & Oates are still in arbitration 2 years later. I don't know how that
Oh,
could
wow.
take
Well,
that
good luck
long.
to him.
But, yeah. In news, a lone gunman killed 4 people in Midtown Manhattan before fatally shooting himself in the deadliest gun attack in New York City in 25 years. It happened during rush hour last night at a Park Avenue skyscraper, that includes corporate offices of the National Football League. The gunman had a suicide note in his back pocket alleging that he suffered from CTE, a brain disease linked to head trauma, and he expressed grievances with the National Football League, according to a source with knowledge of the investigation. In the note, he also asked his brain to be studied. The gunman has been identified as 27-year-old Shane Devon Tamura from Las Vegas. Police said Tamura's motives are still under investigation. He had a documented mental health history. He was a competitive football player in his youth, according to sources. The short note was scribbled over 3 pages, found by investigators after the shooting. Slain police officer Didarul Islam, a 36-year-old immigrant from Bangladesh, had 2 sons and was killed. His wife is pregnant with their 3rd child. One of those shots survived and is in critical but stable condition. An NFL employee was seriously injured, according to a staff memo. That note from the shooter did say that he was in search of the NFL offices.
Did you see the video? I don't know if it was the NFL offices, but it was an office or portion that they barricaded 2 of the doors so that the guy could not get into.
Yeah.
It was just unbelievable, man.
Another mass shooting yesterday. We did mention it yesterday in the news, but there were very few details. Now we have all the details. 3 people dead, 3 others wounded by gunfire after a man opened fire with a handgun outside the Grand Sierra Resort Casino in Reno, Nevada. Police officer was also wounded by glass fragments. The suspected gunman, who had multiple magazines, was shot by responding police, was taken to the hospital in critical condition. Police credited a fast response and having a fire station across the street with helping to save lives and prevent the man from entering the casino. No motive has been determined so far. Police describe the attack as a rampage with no reason to believe the attacker knew any of his victims. Grand Sierra Resort said none of its employees were injured. It all happened about 7:30 in the morning. The police arrived on the scene within 2.5 minutes. Sparks Police Chief Chris Crawforth said the suspect was seen walking in the parking lot. He then produced a handgun and pointed it, but the firearm malfunctioned. The gunman was able to address the issue, then fired multiple times into the group, according to the chief. One person died of a gunshot injury at the scene, 4 others taken to the hospital, where one of the victims died. 2 were in critical condition. One of those who was shot has since been released. The gunman fled back to the parking lot, traded gunfire with a casino security guard. He then fired on a person who was driving through the parking lot, killing that person. The gunman went on to fire at Reno police, hitting a patrol vehicle. The shooter was eventually taken into custody after multiple officers discharged their firearms. The suspect, as I said, as of last night, in critical condition. Ghislaine Maxwell's attorney renewed his request yesterday that the Supreme Court overturn her 2021 conviction in New York for recruiting and grooming multiple teenage girls for Jeffrey Epstein to sexually abuse over a decade. In a new filing, Maxwell's lawyer, David Oscar Marcus, repeated arguments that he had made in previous filings, that a non-prosecution agreement Epstein made with federal prosecutors in Florida should apply to Maxwell's case in New York and any other part of the United States. Let me scoot ahead here. Yeah. Prime Minister Keir Starmer announcing this morning that Britain would recognize the state of Palestine in September if Israel does not agree to a ceasefire with Hamas, putting more pressure on the Israeli government to halt a war that has put Gaza on the brink of famine. Starmer's announcement, which came after an emergency meeting of his cabinet, is a sharp shift in that position, reflecting the intense political pressure his government has faced as the British public recoils from the images of the children in Gaza. A man by the name of Omar Farang Zin was riding the famous Transfargorsund road made popular in Top Gear. That road is in Romania. It's a destination for motorcyclists and drivers, as the road is a mountain highway that climbs through the peaks and valleys, offering everyone a hairpin after hairpin and vistas the world over. The area is also home to a healthy population of brown bears, which are far more aggressive than the more common black bears in Utah. They're bigger, they're meaner, they're bigger, and, it didn't turn out good for Zin. Zin's social media account shows pictures of the motorcyclist with bears around him, and him attempting to feed the bears. The authorities say that he eventually got off the motorcycle, offered a bear some food. Yeah, Chris already guessed the end of this, I think.
What happened, John?
The Italian tourist's phone was also found, which contained pictures prior to an attack that the bear made.
Like a slideshow?
Hey, yeah, the bear. The bear
was again. Hey, do you think that bear's hungry?
There was a bear approaching him, and there are several pictures, close-ups of the bear
Side cartoon.
moving forward.
Like Cocaine Bear, actually.
Man has lost sight of nature.
Yeah.
According to his riding partners, as one bear approached, it attacked him and dragged him off into the forest as they contacted emergency responders.
And he ate him.
He got et.
Moreover, when the responders arrived at the scene and located his body after the bear had mauled him to death, they realized the same bear was stalking them, too.
Yeah, Cocaine Bear.
He had the sniper rifle out there. He had the scope. He had the.
This guy's on par with the gal that yelled at the bear for eating the kayak.
Joe, have you seen Cocaine Bear?
No.
You got to watch it at least once.
I've never heard of it. What is it, a cartoon?
A airplane drug guy dumped his load of cocaine in a forest. I don't know where it was, Alabama. And the bears got a hold of it and went on a cocaine rampage. And it's pretty good. It's really good stuff.
Is it a series?
No, it's just a one-off movie meant to be ridiculous. But it's a lot of fun.
Oh, I thought it was a true story.
Well, isn't everything based on a true story?
Johnny, thank you.
It's a 2023 horror comedy, Joe.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. Cocaine Bear in stores now. Okay.
I don't have the.
Oh, that's right. Here's a guy.
Setup.
Here's a guy.
Latte schmate. Here's Joe Souchere.
Hey, I hit the post.
We talked yesterday about more than 200 police calls to the Rondo Library, and we were musing about libraries. And I got a note that says, listening to yesterday's show and the story about the Rondo Library struck a nerve. Our library in Maplewood became a source of trouble, not due to the facility itself, but related to feral youth who live nearby, spending a good bit of time there, unfortunately not using the opportunity to read a book. Making the problem worse is that librarians, for reasons I do not understand, are at the tip of the social justice warrior spear. Let me pause right there. Who's your mayor?
You're the mayor,
I've
postman.
been saying for 20 years, librarians are the foot soldiers
right
of the mystery.
There, front
They
soldiers.
are the forefront of the mystery. He calls it the social justice warrior spear. Same thing. I actually received a complaint from the library director at the time about two of our officers walking through the building. She expressing concern that their presence could make customers fearful. This was before George Floyd. Important to point out, the officers were looking for a bad guy they thought might have entered the library. Also, they wore standard uniform. They were standard uniform patrol officers and were not brandishing weapons of any type. So far as any customers who may have been concerned knew, they were simply on a walkabout. There was even the occasion in which a deceased homeless woman was found under the deck of the library. Ooh. The woman was a drug addict, one for whom a sister had been doing her best to get off the street and get into treatment. While her death was certainly not the fault of the library staff, they helped the woman continue to live underneath the deck by giving her supplies, making it easier to call the library property home, which ultimately contributed to her death. I miss the days when libraries were the homes of librarians who shushed visitors if they spoke above a whisper and could explain the intricacies of the Dewey Decimal System. Dave, you know, librarians they're right there,
right at the front.
They're right there, is what I'm saying. Yeah. They're right there. And just a note on all the social justice warriors who want to keep increasing the minimum wage. A new study published by the National Bureau of Economic Research found that California's 2023 minimum wage hike cost the state thousands of jobs. Researchers found that the state's $20 million, well, it might as well be, the state's $20 minimum wage fast food hike has cost the fast food sector 18,000 jobs since it went into effect in April of 2024. That's a 3.2% decline in that sector compared to fast food sectors in other parts of the country. Our median estimate translates into a loss of 18,000 jobs in California. Researchers Jeffrey Clemens, Olivia Edwards, and Jonathan Meir wrote in the paper. The California Assembly passed that bill on September 23, which established the state's Fast Food Council and its ability to set and adjust the sector's minimum wage. Additionally, the bill signed into law by California Governor Newsom the following April established a new minimum wage for fast food workers, which was previously $16 an hour. Okay, go on and on and on. It stands to reason. It shouldn't surprise anybody that cost you.
Did it also include, Joe, I'm curious, did that study also include how many different restaurants had to close its doors because of that? Because I remember reading various degrees of that also happening in addition to the jobs being lost.
I don't know.
Because remember, we played the audio of the Hispanic gentleman who had to close his Mexican restaurant because of this.
The Democratic Socialist running for mayor in New York, Zoran Mamdani, he has proposed a minimum wage of $30.
Come on, why stop there?
I've always said that. Why 20? Why not 48?
A $30 an hour minimum wage? Mm-hmm. These people are insane.
Well, somehow the notion became accepted that fast food should be a career in which would provide you the ability to buy a home and raise a family. I don't think it was ever intended to be that.
It's an entry-level job.
But we don't have those anymore because that would be disrespectful and that would not be equitable.
Word.
The fast food guy should make as much as a hedge fund manager.
Hell nah. How much did he study?
I'm glad you understand.
Only because they come to us all the way from Marloth Park, deep in Africa.
It's over there.
You can get there. Mpumalanga Province, South Africa, from the Traveling Lyman's. It was on this day,
July 29th.
in 1927. Beardsley, Minnesota. I think it's up near St. Cloud.
Yep.
Beardsley set a state record for the high temperature in this state, 114 degrees.
Wow.
Moorhead equaled it on July 6, 1936. Oh, these are out of order.
They are.
Yeah, what the hell. On this day,
Big
Don't
Stone
tell
County
me.
is where Beardsley is located.
Becker, Benton, Big Stone, Blue Earth, and Brown.
Those are your B counties.
On this day,
July 29th.
in 1827, John S. Pillsbury was born in Sutton, New Hampshire. After arriving in Minnesota in the 1850s, he eventually found success and wealth in the flour milling trade. He served as the state's 8th governor, arranging for the state to repay bondholders for the $5 million loan which railroads had defaulted on in 1858, and using his own funds to support operations of the state penitentiary, which the legislature had neglected to include in the budget. He ensured the success of the University of Minnesota, being one of 3 regents who put the university on firm financial footing, and he visited the campus almost daily for the last 40 years of his life.
You know it.
He died on October 18, 1901. On this day,
On July 29th.
in 1856, missionary Stephen R. Riggs and a group of Dakota at the Upper Sioux Agency in Yellow Medicine County from the Hazelwood Republic, a system of self-government. A group of...
You got him.
What did they do? Missionary Riggs and a group of Dakota.
Why are you asking us?
Oh, they formed the Hazelwood Republic, a system of self-government. I get it. The Republic had a president, secretary, and judges, and its members saved lives during the U.S.-Dakota War of 1862. On this day,
On July 29th.
in 1887,
going
a
backwards.
runaway wagon struck a streetcar traveling down Walnut Street on St. Paul's Ramsey Hill, causing the streetcar to lose control and rocket to the bottom of the hill. Surprisingly, given the hill's steep incline, there were no injuries.
I can't believe that.
I can't.
I'm happy, but I can't. That's
How many kids said, again, let's do it again?
do it again,
On
Daddy.
this day,
On July 29th.
in 1974, Minnesota's Jeanette Picard, who had once piloted hydrogen balloons into the stratosphere, was one of the first women to be ordained a priest in the Episcopal Church.
Wow.
And finally, on
What
this,
was her name?
Jeanette Picard.
And Jeanette. Probably a distant relative of Jean-Luc.
On this day in Minnesota sports disappointment history,
July 29th.
1944. Minnesota Milleret pitcher Annabelle Lee threw the first perfect game in the AAG PBL history in an 18-zip win over the Kenosha Comets. The AAPL must have been the American Association of Girls Professional Baseball. That's be my guess.
That's a good guess.
On this day,
July 29th.
in 1991, Keith Millard crashed his Corvette into a Hardee's parking lot, left the scene to beat the training camp curfew.
And still, while the building's no longer there, you could still see the outline as recently as when
Sweet.
I was going to school there of work.
Did he think abandoning the car would somehow
That'll help.
get him off the hook?
Wasn't the quote, "My arms are more powerful than your guns"?
Keith Millard, yes.
Yeah.
My arms are more powerful.
Well, there you have it, GLers, and I thank you very much for your patience.
Please do us a favor if you have not done so already. Hit subscribe right there on the Garage Logic YouTube channel. You know, we're nearing almost 17,000 subscribers on the Garage Logic YouTube channel. We're there. You can watch the show each and every single day starting right around noon. And there's also full segments. There's video shorts. There's behind the scenes footage, but it's all there for you. Just search Garage Logic on YouTube. And you can also search Garage Logic on all of our social media channels, which includes Facebook, Instagram, and X. And also, sign up for the Daily Logician. That email comes right to your inbox each and every single day, and it includes the most recent episode of the podcast. Find out more and sign up today by going to the website, which is, of course, garagelogic.com.
Hell yeah.